Morning guys, so today my GoPro isn't working. Things just seem to be going downhill really quickly. I don't even know what day we're on anymore. I think it's like 9 or something, kind of losing my mind. So GoPro isn't working, so I'm going to attempt to do today's video by recording on my phone. If I don't start it now, it's not going to be posted until 9 o'clock again, like last night's. And sorry for last night's. I posted it and realized that I didn't put any music to it, so in general that video was kind of just a mess. But today's should be better. So what I decided to do yesterday was to have you guys kind of make some recommendations, and I got a lot of really good stuff. Feel free to give me any more recommendations that you can come up with, or if you have anything weird in your pantry, or if you have a couple ingredients in your pantry that you don't think I can cook something with, like message them to me and I'll see what I can do. It can be kind of like chopped or something, I don't know. But I'm running out of ideas, so if you guys have any suggestions, send them on over. But today I decided that I'm going to make banana bread. A lot of you guys have requested it, and I have all of the ingredients, so that's what I'm going to do. So here's what you're going to need. Alright, so here's everything that you're going to need for banana bread. First, you're going to need 3/4 cup of sugar. You're going to need 1.5 cups of bananas that are mashed up. I froze these the night before and they're thawing right now. That helps to make your bananas a little more mushy. You're going to need 3/4 cup of vegetable oil. You're going to need 2 eggs, 2 cups of flour. This ingredient is optional, but you can add a 1/2 cup of chopped nuts if you want. I'm probably not going to. I'm not a huge fan of nuts in my banana bread. You're going to need 1 teaspoon of baking soda, a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and you're going to need 2 teaspoons of vanilla. We have some pure vanilla extract there. So that is everything that you're going to need for this recipe. First thing we're going to want to do before we start mixing any ingredients together is preheat the oven. So I'm going to preheat it to 325 degrees. So while the oven is preheating, I'm going to grease my pan. It says to use a pastry brush to grease the pan, but I don't have one, so I'm just using a paper towel and some Crisco. So I'm going to scoop out some Crisco and I'm going to rub it around in this pan. Kind of hard to do with one hand, so I'm going to stop here. When I'm done, I'll come back. So our pan is nice and greased up. I got it in all of the corners, all of the edges, and I also came up and around and over the top too, just in case the bread rises and comes over the edge. I don't want it sticking up here. I also forgot to mention that this is a 9x5 loaf pan. So now that that's all done, we can put that off to the side and we can start mixing our wet ingredients together. So first we're going to start with 3/4 cup of sugar. I'm going to put that in the mixer. Next we're going to add in our bananas that I've mashed up. This was 4 bananas. 3 of them were frozen and nice and mushy, and then I added 1 fresh banana. So that is 1.5 cups of mushed up bananas. Super attractive, quite delicious. Next we're going to add in our 3/4 cup of vegetable oil. And last
last, we're gonna add our 2 eggs. Now I cracked these into a separate bowl because I'm always worried about getting eggshells in the mix that I've already mixed together. It would kind of ruin the whole thing. So I crack it into a separate bowl before I add it in. So we're gonna add in our 2 eggs. Now I'm gonna lower the top and we're gonna start this mixing together. Now the banana mixture is all mixed. I'm going to add the 2 teaspoons of vanilla and give it another little mix. Perfect. Now in a separate bowl, I'm going to get together my dry ingredients. So my dry ingredients would include the flour, the baking soda, the baking powder, and the salt. So I'm gonna get all those mixed together in here, and then I'll come back when I'm done. So I have my wet ingredients here and my dry ingredients over here. I've taken this bowl out of the stand mixer because I don't want to use the stand mixer anymore. The reasoning for that is because the leavening agents that are in the dry ingredients can only leaven so much once they hit the wet ingredients, and you don't want to damage the bubbles that they've created. So you want to make sure that when you fold it in, you only do it until all of the dry ingredients are like just moistened. You don't want to over mix it from there because then you're just gonna damage all those bubbles. They're gonna pop. You aren't gonna have a nice fluffy bread, which we want. So I'm gonna start adding those in now. I think I'm gonna add about half of this and then fold. I'm going to add the other half. So I just got all of the dry ingredients moistened in there. I didn't mix it any further once everything kind of looked like this. You can still see a little flour on the spatula and around the edges of the pan. That's okay. You just want anything that's in the batter to be moistened. So this is the point when you would add in your chopped nuts if you want some. I don't, so I'm just gonna put this right into the loaf pan. Alright, so my batter's in my bread pan. Time to go get it in the oven. Now this is gonna bake for a really long time. It's going to bake for 60 to 70. Alright, so the bread has been in for an hour and 5 minutes now. I took it out at the hour mark and I tested it, and it wasn't quite done yet. I'm going to show you how I tested it. Usually I would like to use a toothpick, but I don't have a toothpick, so I used a knife and I stuck it straight into the center and I pulled it out. So you see how there's still kind of some batter on that knife? That's how you know that it's not quite ready yet. I'm gonna give it another 5 minutes and then I'll check it again. No, but it's burning around the edges, so...
Just pull it then.
I think I might.
It'll keep cooking.
Yeah. So for those of you who didn't hear, I'm gonna pull it out of the oven. It's starting to get kind of dark around the edges, but you imagine the pan is still pretty hot. so it'll keep cooking while we let it cool. So we're gonna let it cool down and then we'll come back for slicing. All right, banana bread is cooled. So I'm gonna take the knife that I used to test and see if it was done, and I'm just going to cut around the edges to make sure that it doesn't stick. I have my fancy dancy taste tester over here ready to eat some bread.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Turn it upside down. There we go.
One loaf bread.
That there. Cut a couple little slices off. Want to split a piece, or do you want your own?
Sure. Split one.
Split this one right here.
You gonna butter yours?
I'm gonna butter mine. I like butter on my banana bread. You gonna butter yours?
I don't know. I'm gonna try it. Natural.
Okay. How'd I do?
Tastes like banana bread.
It's like banana bread. That's always a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Good banana bread.
Mmm. There's good banana bread. Easy to make. You can totally make it at home if you've got bananas. Just throw your bananas in the freezer the night before so that they get nice and mushy. Do you have any tips and tricks for them?
I don't know how to cook.
But yeah, that's banana bread. So let me know if you make it at home. Give me any sort of suggestions that you guys might have as to what I should make next, or challenge me to use some funky ingredients. I hope you guys are staying safe and healthy during your time off. Are you gonna show them the nosy one down here?
Rigby, are you okay?